So this is probably a more unique version of which is better than I've ever done with a Masters of the Universe figure. Mostly because I'm comparing two different Masters of the Universe figure lines, both of which are ongoing. Of course, there's the Origins figure line, which this Leech is from, and there is the Masterverse figure line, which this Leech is from. This Leech is more based off the original Leech figure that came out in the original Masters of the Universe line in the 80s. This Leech is more based off Leech's animation appearance in the She-Ra Princess of Power cartoon. There are some differences to go over. We are going to talk about the paint and overall appearance of these figures. And we are going to start off with our Origins Leech. Now, Leech does have a couple different heads that he comes with. This is the head I'm going with first. I'll look at the other one as we go, but just looking at it, you know, the colors do match that original Leech figure. The paint is glossy here on the chest. It does kind of look like armor. There is a nicely sculpted belt, of course, that horde symbol smack in the middle of his chest. But we have like sculpted bands on the arms, which the original had. A armband here, which I believe is missing the horde symbol. I feel like that's supposed to be there. Sculpted back, missing the push button that the original Leech would have to activate its suction gimmick. But moving on down the body, you know, this matte kind of green, the leg bands, whatever you want to call these, boot cuts that have the suction cup feet. So really, it kind of, you know, an homage, an update to that original Leech figure, even with the suction cup hands that do have this tab so you can unsuction them. You will notice that there is a hand that doesn't look like a suction cup on this one, and that is because we're talking about these more with the accessories, but there are different interchangeable hands, both suction cups and non-suction cup hands. And also, just speaking to the head, there is a head that makes Leech look very much like the original Masters of the Universe Leech figure, complete with the suction cup gimmick mouth there. But I do have this one on, which is doesn't have the suction cup mouth, has this big open kind of mouth, which has some neatly painted teeth, but the inside, there is detail in there, but it gets a little lost because it's all just red. So there is that. Looking at our Masterverse Leech, we have one who, as I said, it was based more off the animation, the way Leech appeared in the She-Ra cartoon. So it's not just shades of green. There are shades of green, yes, but you have some really cool gold shoulder pads, both sporting horde symbols. There is this neat horde symbol on the chest that looks like it is strapped. You can see the straps around it. Cool looking collar. The face, again, that Leechy kind of face with the mouth. I love the way the eyes are painted, but more detail in there. Different shades of red for the gums and the tongue, and even the top of the mouth, you know, like that tunnel down to his throat. Just looking really cool. You know, you can tell that this shade of green is very different compared to the rest of the body. This looks like slimy Leech skin, while this definitely looks more like armor. We do have the armbands done up in black. We do have the boots with the horde symbol again done up in black. But really cool detail with like these like warts on Leech's skin. And the hands this time, you know, that open suction cup gimmick, but not flat circles. There are these like Leechy teeth on the suction cup hands, as well as really cool hands with webbing there. And just, you know, spinning them around to the back. Those straps continue. Cool spine details. You know, nicely molded in belt there. So when I'm looking at these two Leeches, you know, this one really looks like a toy to me. This one looks like an action figure, modern day action figure. So if I'm going to decide which one I think is better in terms of paint and overall appearance, I'm going to give it to the Princess of Power Masterverse Leech, just because it looks a little more unique than the Origins version. Let's take a look at the articulation for these Masters of the Universe figures, starting with the Origins Leech. In terms of the head, it does move left to right. There is a lot of bit of up, and because of the mouth, not so much down, but it does have the ability to move the neck down. Nothing here in the body other than rotation at the waist. In terms of the arms, they do go around, but kind of like an angle. It's like you can see them the way they're moving now, and that's a little bit because of like the joint here. You can kind of see it. It's not like fully flat. I don't know if it's a ball joint. I don't know what to call it, but it definitely does move a little weird. In terms of the elbow, it is a single bend with rotation at the elbow. A lot of these Masters of the Universe Origin figures were made with customization in mind. So you can really pull these apart and kind of create your own monsters if you wish. In terms of the hands, they go from side to side. They rotate as well. Suction cup hands just rotate. There's no side to side. They just rotate. At the legs can kick up and back and out, but they are on kind of like a ball joint, so you might not be able to like turn them all that much. There is knee bend and twist at the knee, single joint bend. There is a boot cut, and the suction cup feet can rotate as well, although it doesn't seem like there's much of anything going on there when you rotate these feet. You just kind of get the webbing design that is very faint to turn a little bit. So there is that. So I'm going to put our Origins Leech over here, which brings me to my Masterverse Leech. Now, with the head, he can't really look up a lot, look down about that much, but there is nice swivel on the head, so you can get him to turn. In terms of the body, we do have waist rotation, but also at the diaphragm, he can move up and down, and he can turn there as well. So that acts as more of another articulation point. And the horde symbol on the chest, it's only molded to the top part of the chest, so it doesn't really get in the way. In terms of arms, first off, he does have these armor pieces, which you could pull off if you wanted to. You can kind of see they're sliding down now. I do prefer to keep them on. But in terms of the arms go out, even with the arms, the shoulder armor on, they go out pretty far. Arms will rotate fully around, nothing really getting in the way, nothing weird about that. And they do rotate up there as well. Double jointed elbow, although the arms are very muscular, so you might not be able to utilize both joints. And this one seems to be stuck on mine, so I'm not going to force it because I don't want to break it on camera. Let's try the other one. It's there. There's a little bit of movement. I got to finagle that a little bit. But in terms of the hands, they both rotate and they go in and out. So that is nice to see. In terms of the legs, we get out, backwards quite a bit, and sideways. And you can twist the legs a little bit. There is thigh rotation. So very nicely articulated legs. Double jointed knee. So there's some nice bend going on there. Boot cut. And at the feet, they can go in and out. There you go. You can see the way they bend there. There is some pivot as well. It gets a little wonky, but not bad. And that does it for this Leech's articulation. So if you ask me which one has the better articulation, I'm giving it to the Masterverse Leech. My third round is about the accessories, and the Origins Leech was a deluxe figure. I think it's just because he came with so many interchangeable parts, but you already see the open mouth head on here. You see one suction cup hand and a non-suction cup hand. You really had the opportunity to mix and match. Like I already kind of mentioned, this Leech comes with another suction cup hand and another open hand, so you have two sets of hands, which is very nice. And you have this other head, which I already spoke about. From the side, it appears very similar to this head, although it's not open here at the jaw. And that is because it is here to imitate the tooth effect, suction cup effect that the original one had. And switching that head on will give you something like this. So you have that original look of Leech. It's neat. It's a really, really cool homage to the original figure, a toy that I had growing up and still have. I still have my original Leech. But as a kid, you couldn't see past his face. So I kind of like the ability to have a different head on here, because I really feel like this kind of adds a little more to the character. The face is still quite big, and if you're looking at it dead on, you don't really see his eyes or anything. But I do think it is better than just having this weird suction cup face. In terms of actual weapons, though, he does come with his Horde crossbow, and just like the original crossbows, you can pull them back, press a little button here, and There you go. They will fire out. So he does have his Horde crossbow. Such a cool thing that I remember, really liking as a kid, thinking it was a very cool weapon for Masters of the Universe. I think it fits better on the non-suction cupped hand. So that is how I kind of have this Leech posed out most of the time. In terms of accessories for my Masterverse Leech, there's no additional faces, there's no additional hands. He does have two weapons though. First, he has this whip, which I don't remember if Leech had in the cartoon. It's been a long time since I've done a full rewatch of She-Ra. But this whip is neat, it's done up in black. There is a cool Hordak face here at this part of the whip. You can see the bat wings going back, and this will attach to his arm. You just snap it in place like this, and it sits there. So Leech has a neat looking whip that he could use to whip the Horde slaves, if you will. He also has a crossbow, the Horde crossbow. It doesn't click and fire like the others, but it has this neat energy effect. So you see this energy here, like acting as like the drawstring and the arrow, and then of course this gargoyle face on it, which is neat. Both have that face. And just like the original Leech, this just clips onto his wrist. And now you have a Leech holding his Horde crossbow. So really the question comes down to which set of accessories do I like better? And the whip is cool. The crossbow is cool. They both have the crossbow. But I really do like how this Leech, the Origins one, has the different accessories. You can have him with the suction cup hands or regular hands. You can have the original homage head or a kind of a new head, which adds a little bit more character to it. So I'm giving this round to my Origins one. I think he just comes with some neater, better, nicer accessories. For round 4, we are talking about price and availability of these figures. I want to say this Leech came out in 2022, and he looks really cool. As like I said, he was a deluxe figure. Originally, he was $20. Now you can find him online from anywhere between $8 to $12. That's a hell of a price drop, and not a bad price to pay, quite honestly. I want to say he's on Amazon. I know he's definitely on eBay. You might even be able to find him on like Target and Walmart's website at that price. That's pretty solid. If you're looking to get a figure that is very toyetic, maybe something that you want to have for your kids, I think the Origins figures are really great for little kids if you're trying to get them into the Masters of the Universe. I think they are durable. I think they are fun to play with. I think they look neat on a shelf next to, your original He-Man stuff. But that is not a bad price. The Masterverse figure technically first off, it's kind of in limbo right now. I got mine off Big Bad Toy Store. It got here in June. One of my best friends has his ordered on Amazon. It's not arriving till August. I paid, I want to say like $25. It is listed on Amazon for $21.99, so let's just say $22. Not a bad price. I don't know how hard he's going to be to get. I know some of the Masterverse figures have been skyrocketing in aftermarket value after they come out, so if you are thinking about getting the Masterverse Leech, you probably want to act sooner rather than later. I don't know if he's necessarily going to ever hit a clearance type price. But overall, for this round, I have to say that the Origins one wins because that $8 to $12 price tag is a really nice price tag for a pretty nice figure. And so for my last round, crossbow against crossbow, Leech against Leech, we're talking display compatibility. Really, this is going to depend on what kind of display you are going for. Are you going for a display that's going to match the original style of the original Masters of the Universe figures? Because if you are, Origins Leech might be for you. Are you going for this Masterverse style with very articulated, nicely designed, very cool looking updated figures? Because then the Masterverse one might be for you, especially if you want animation accurate She-Ra figures. Part of me was thinking when they announced the Leech, we are going to get like a big, giant, like this version of Leech done up in like Masters of the Universe, like maybe like a deluxe type figure. I was actually kind of surprised and happy to see that we got a somewhat regular sized figure, but done up in his animation style. It shouldn't have come as that much a surprise considering we got Shadow Weaver and Catra and Hordak and Grizzlor all in their animated look. But I was really happy to see it. It's a very different take on Leech, one that I don't think we've ever really gotten in action figure form before. If I only had to pick one, I would probably stick with the Masterverse one, just because it looks different enough that if I want to have my original Leech from my childhood on my shelf, this one's going to be a nice contrast, where this one is just going to kind of look like the same thing with some new parts. So yeah, that means round 5 is going to my Masterverse Leech. I think that just happens to be the better one for a display. So with a score of 3-2, the Masterverse Leech manages to win this edition of Which is Better while sucking all the energy out of Origins Leech. I feel like that's what Leech did in the cartoon. Didn't he like hold his flipper hands up to people and suck out their energy? I'm going to say he did. That's how I remember it. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Let me know which Leech is your favorite Leech if you intend to buy any. Do you like the Horde? I do. They are my favorite branch of Masters of the Universe. But let me know what you think about this review. I would love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. And until next time, hey, I've been Dan. You've all been pretty awesome. He's been Leech. I'll see you next time.
Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.